This is Atiku Abubakar, the veteran politician that some voices in Nigeria are urging Peter Obi to step aside for, asking him to surrender the momentum of the obedient movement in support of a familiar old guard candidate in the race to Aso Rock. But while Atiku Abubakar was reportedly resting in Saudi Arabia, far away from the daily realities of ordinary Nigerians, it was barely 7 a.m. in Abuja. The morning sun had only just begun to rise over the federal capital territory. The streets were waking up. Traders were opening their stalls. Workers were preparing for another day in a struggling economy. And Peter Obi was already out on the streets. Not inside an air-conditioned convoy, not shielded by tinted glass, not hidden behind layers of protocol, but on foot, walking through markets, moving through communities, shaking hands with traders, listening to the frustrations of struggling citizens, hearing their fears, their hopes, their anger, and their dreams. Peter Obi was not there for luxury. He was not there for optics. He was there to feel the pulse of the people he wants to serve. He was there mobilizing grassroots support for the African Democratic Congress, ADC. He was there strengthening local structures. He was there standing with ordinary Nigerians at the very ground level of political engagement. Meanwhile, thousands of kilometers away, Atiku Abubakar, the same man some believe should lead Nigeria's opposition against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, was boarding a flight. Not to Borno to meet struggling farmers. Not to Benue to meet displaced families. Not to Kaduna to listen to youth battling unemployment. Not to communities ravaged by insecurity. Instead, he was flying to Saudi Arabia to rest. Let that contrast sink in. Two men who aspire to become president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Two men with drastically different visions. Two men with completely different political philosophies. Two men representing two opposite futures for this country. One is rolling up his sleeves, walking through fire-ravaged markets in Kubwa, donating millions to run-down primary schools, trekking dusty streets for hours because he believes leadership must be built through presence, sacrifice, endurance, and genuine connection. The other is holidaying abroad, content to manage politics from a distance while enjoying the comfort of wealth accumulated over decades, much of it tied to public power. Yet, somehow, a narrative is being pushed in some political circles that Peter Obi should step down for Atiku Abubakar. That Peter Obi should accept a vice presidential slot under Atiku Abubakar, a man who will be 81 years old by the 2027 elections. Let us call this what it is. It is not only illogical, it is insulting. It is an insult to every Nigerian who has watched this country sink deeper into poverty, insecurity, inflation, unemployment, and despair under the leadership of men who treat power as their inheritance rather than a responsibility entrusted to them by the people. Peter Obi's activities in recent months tell a story that requires no exaggeration. Since joining the African Democratic Congress, ADC, at the end of December 2025, he has displayed relentless energy, not driven by selfish ambition, but by an urgent commitment to reconnect with ordinary Nigerians. In January 2026 alone, Peter Obi conducted multiple campaign tours across the Federal Capital Territory. He visited the Kubwa furniture market after a devastating fire outbreak, not for photo opportunities, but to sympathize with traders who lost their livelihoods. He walked through markets in Bwari, engaging directly with locals, listening to their concerns, hearing their economic struggles firsthand. He met with the Bassa traditional leadership in Gwagwalada, recognizing the importance of grassroots inclusion. He visited LEA Primary School in Tunga Nazarawa and was deeply disturbed by the appalling condition of the toilet facilities. Without hesitation, he donated 2 million Nigerian nairas on the spot to support urgent repairs. And during one of those visits, Peter Obi said something that deserves reflection. Leadership is not a distant concept. It is forged through presence, endurance, and authentic connection. That is not the language of a man chasing power for ego. That is the philosophy of a servant leader who understands that Nigeria cannot be governed from luxury hotels in Dubai or Saudi Arabia, nor from air-conditioned offices isolated from the struggles of ordinary people. Now, let us compare this with Atiku Abubakar. Where has he been? What grassroots mobilization has he personally led? Which markets has he walked through recently? Which schools has he visited? Which fire victims has he comforted? Which displaced families has he stood with? The silence answers the question. While Peter Obi was building grassroots momentum for ADC candidates, including Moses Paul and Amak High, Atiku Abubakar was reportedly spotted at Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport on February 2, 2026. Not arriving from a campaign trip to Sokoto or Kaduna, but departing for Saudi Arabia to rest. A man who wants to lead Africa's most populous nation, yet chooses luxury abroad during a critical phase of political mobilization, raises serious concerns about priorities, commitment, stamina, and seriousness. Before we go further, this is a passionate appeal. YouTube analytics show that 93% of people who watch Brainspot Media are not yet subscribed. When you subscribe, like this video, comment, and share, you help Brainspot Media grow, and you help this message reach more Nigerians who deserve truth, clarity, and accountability. Please subscribe, like, comment, share. Thank you. Now let us continue. Let us address the elephant in the room, something too many people are afraid to say openly. Atiku Abubakar is 79 years old. By November 2027, he will be 81 years old. If elected, he would become the oldest president in Nigeria's history, expected to govern a nation of more than 220 million people, most of whom are under the age of 30. Nigeria is not a country that can afford a part-time president. Nigeria is not a country that can be governed through Zoom calls from foreign hospital beds. Nigeria is a country in crisis. We are facing economic collapse, rising inflation, youth unemployment, rampant insecurity, failing healthcare, crumbling infrastructure, an education system on life support, a restless and frustrated youth population. Governing Nigeria requires stamina. It requires constant physical presence. It requires long security briefings. It requires frequent travel across all 36 states. It requires mental sharpness and fast crisis decision-making. We have already seen what happens when Nigeria is led by aging, low-energy leadership. Muhammadu Buhari spent a significant portion of his presidency abroad receiving medical treatment while the nation struggled. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, whose real age remains a subject of public debate, has been seen needing assistance at public events. Now Nigerians are being asked to support another aging political heavyweight, a man who has contested the presidency for over 30 years without success. A man whose defection to the ADC in 2025 did not attract a single sitting governor, while Peter Obi's defection brought National Assembly members, House of Assembly members, and local government leaders. Let us be honest about who Atiku Abubakar is. He is a man whose family reportedly owns multiple luxury properties in Dubai, according to international financial investigations. His name appeared in the Dubai property leaks, linked to politically exposed persons. He served as vice president under Olusegun Obasanjo, yet Obasanjo publicly refused to endorse him for president, calling him unfit for the office. His political style has always been transactional, built on money politics, patronage, and elite deals. A man who leaves Nigeria for Saudi Arabia during election season will not suddenly transform into a hands-on president. His approach mirrors the same political culture that produced Bola Ahmed Tinubu: secure power through money, protect elite interests, and govern at a distance. At 81 years old, Atiku Abubakar will not reinvent himself. He will not become a reformer. He will not challenge entrenched interests, because he is part of them. Peter Obi is not perfect. No politician is. But the difference between Peter Obi and the old guard politicians like Atiku Abubakar and Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not small. It is fundamental. Peter Obi believes in showing up. When traders in Kubwa lost their businesses to fire, Peter Obi was physically present, not issuing press statements, but offering comfort and support. When children in Tungan Nasarawa were forced to use terrible toilet facilities, he donated 2 million Nigerian nairas immediately. He believes in grassroots politics, not backroom deals. While Atiku Abubakar relies on political godfathers, Peter Obi relies on ordinary Nigerians, traders, farmers, students, teachers, and young people. This is not performance. This is how he governed as governor of Anambra State, with accountability, discipline, modesty, and respect for public funds. At 63 years old, Peter Obi has energy, mental sharpness, and stamina. He wakes up early. He walks through markets. He travels across Nigeria. He engages deeply in policy discussions. And most importantly, he has a movement. The obedient movement is not a cult of personality. It is a national awakening. It survived the disappointment of 2023. It survived the exit from the Labour Party. It followed him to the ADC. This is organic political energy, not manufactured, not bought, not rented. Nigeria stands at a crossroads. One path leads to the same old politicians, the same elite control, the same aging leadership, the same disconnected governance. The other path leads to a leader who walks among the people, a leader who invests personal resources in public good, a leader who believes Nigeria can change, a leader who represents a new political generation. The contrast between Peter Obi and Atiku Abubakar is not subtle. It is stark. It is clear. It should shape the future of Nigeria's opposition leadership. Atiku Abubakar deserves rest. He has spent decades in Nigerian politics. Let him rest in Dubai and Saudi Arabia. Let him serve as an elder statesman. But do not ask him to lead a nation that requires energy, presence, and constant engagement. Nigeria does not need another absentee leader. Peter Obi is ready. The obedient movement is ready. Nigeria is ready. This is Brainspot Media, bringing you the truth like a storm. Fast, powerful, unfiltered. Stay informed. Stay alert. Stay ready. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to Brainspot Media, turn on notifications, smash the like button, comment your thoughts, and share with others. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.